Hello, and it's good to have you again on today's show. The International Transport Workers Federation, founded 1896 in London by European seafarers and dockers union leaders, realized the need to organize internationally against strike breakers. ITF, since it was founded, has been helping seafarers and today represents the interests of seafarers worldwide with over 600,000 as members of ITF-affiliated unions. ITF working to improve conditions for seafarers of all nationalities and to ensure adequate regulation of the shipping industry, protect the interests and rights of maritime workers. Over the years, ITF has organized workers in ships, ports, railways, road freight, passenger transport, inland waterways, fisheries, tourism, and civil aviation, addressing the challenges facing Nigeria's maritime workers, especially with the hardship triggered by economic downturn, are some of the issues that will be on the front burner on today's show. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. Maritime workers are key drivers of the maritime sector. Their well-being is a reflection of the health of the industry. There's therefore the need to ensure policies which must be implemented are put in place to protect their interests in the workplace. Notably, in advanced maritime nations, the qualitative education of workers and their welfare are given highest priority. In Nigeria, it's been continued uncertainties resulting from unemployment amid dearth of qualified workforce. The call for a national line, which the new minister is buying into, is apt, which will help to create an opportunity for building seafarers, cadets, and other key workers in the industry to enable them get proper certification and training. Priority must also be placed on their health, payment of salaries, safety, and general welfare. Before we get further into today's lineup of the program, let's find out the latest in maritime news.
The Nigerian government and the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria have started verification for the disengaged seafarers of the Nigerian National Shipping Line 28 years after liquidation. The verification is coming after years of unrelenting battle by the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria for the payment of their pensions. The exercise also involves the next of kin for deceased staff. In his words, the President General of the Union said the seafarers have contributed immensely to the growth of the maritime industry in Nigeria, but sadly, 28 years after, they are yet to be paid their pensions.
The government are fully involved. The Ministry of Blue Economy, they are fully involved. The DG, Nneoma, they are all involved. Minister of Labour, Minister of Blue Economy, all of them are involved. So there's no how this verification is going to be kept under the carpet, including the Nigeria Port Authority. So they are involved. So it's a tripartite arrangement where nobody will run away from their responsibilities. So it's their right, it's the right of the old men.
Many of the seafarers reacted with joy at the verification process starting and the assurance that their pensions will be paid.
I'm part of this verification, and I thank Mr. Adeyanju, Prince Adeyanju, who stood by us and said, no, this thing will come to an end. Today is the greatest joy in our life. This entire seamen, today is our greatest joy.
Although some seafarers have since died, most of them are still alive and aged. The verification exercise will move to Calabar, Port Harcourt and Onne next, with the expectation that payments will follow soon after. The Nigeria Customs Service has flagged off a sensitization program to sensitize officers on the benefits of accessing the National Health Insurance Scheme. Flagging the program off, the Controller General of Customs, represented by the Deputy Controller General of Customs in charge of Human Resource Development, Greg Itoto, said that the National Health Insurance Authority is a means of offering officers high-quality health care. It is an insurance program that the NCS makes mandatory contributions to. After 6 consecutive quarters of falling profits, container lines rebounded in the first quarter of 2024 with rate support from geopolitical disruption. Container line earnings have been on a downward trajectory since the peak of pandemic-induced rate hikes in the second quarter of 2022. The downward spiral brought a net loss across the largest container lines in the last quarter of 2023, and earnings forecast predicted dire losses for 2024. According to figures from the Macau Container Results Observer, total container line profits in the first quarter of 2024 rebounded to a $5.4 billion profit in the first quarter. The main support for container line earnings was higher rates owing to disruption in the Red Sea and the subsequent rerouting of vessels and absorption of excess tonnage, a factor mentioned in individual earnings reports and many market updates and analysis since late 2023. The report also found that change in global trade flows has led to congestion in some Asian ports as higher volumes and shifting patterns affect infrastructure and inland operations in certain regions.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Maritime Radar, International Transport Workers Federation, which represents transport workers' interest in international bodies, plays a crucial role to support its member trade unions to find ways of defending their interests in the global economy. They take decisions affecting jobs, employment conditions, and safety. These bodies include the International Labour Organization, the International Maritime Organization, and the International Civil Aviation Organization. The ITF also takes up the interests of transport workers with the OECD, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the World Trade Organization. In this chat with Prince Adeyanju, President, General Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, and Deputy President, Nigerian Labour Congress, speaks on the role of his appointment as Chairman ITF Africa and Vice President ITF Global in furthering the welfare of Nigerian seafarers and all other maritime workers. The Port and Harbour Bill, IOCs, all in ensuring health and safety and well-being of maritime workers. Stay with us. It's good to have you again on the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to also congratulate you on your new appointment as Chairman ITF Africa and Vice President ITF Global. So these are significant roles when it comes to welfare of workers. So what does this mean for us, Nigerian workers?
Well, it says, how do I put it? It's called for duty. You need to do more for the workers. You need to let them know that, yes, you've not disappointed them. And it equally give you another feather for you to do more for the entire workforce in maritime sectors. Whether you're a seafarers, dock worker, shipping, or an MPA, we are port workers. So it's a recognition for what you are doing. It's for recognitions for all the entire workforce in the maritime sectors.
I must say it's well deserving because of your key leadership role that everyone can see. And so for the maritime workers, what are the key expectations or benefits this new office brings?
I think the primary responsibility of any union leader is to make sure that the oath of office you pledge is to protect their welfareism as a union leaders. So with this, is going to be a good expectations, the salary, their remunerations, the health and safety gadgets that some of the terminal operators are not giving to the workers. It makes you to move around and revolve around the workers and connect properly with them. What are the areas of challenges? Because the ITF is global. They would like you to come and tell them the areas of your challenges and what you have been passing through in the presence of the workers or in the presence of management that are not doing better. So ours is to add more to this success that they have given to us, and we are going to make sure that we did better than before.
ITF is global, just as you have said, and one key thing after is also training and retraining of maritime workers, because you need to rejig and follow the trend. So what are you bringing or working out with them in terms of training of maritime workers in Nigeria?
Yes, I think it's part of their responsibility as an athlete. We're an athlete of ITF. We've been in ITF for almost 40 years, and just of recent, we have been given a project, first of its kind in Nigeria and first of its kind in Africa, where we are going to have what we call a recreation center for seafarers in Nigeria here, and the project is worth millions of naira and in dollars. So they have already made their mind to build a recreation center for seafarers in this country that is going to house maritime workers of Nigeria. It's going to house the dock worker, the shipping, the MPA, the seafarers. So, and it's a huge project. So it shows that they have respect for Nigerian workers, they have respect for Africa, and they have respect for this government, because before an ITF we came into Nigeria to come and house a recreation center, a big, huge investment like that, you know, you must have trusted us and tested us better. So we have a lot of advantage to gain more on these new promotions given to Africa on behalf of maritime workers of Nigeria.
Okay, one leg of this ITF is seafarers, and you will agree with me that there are huge challenges in terms of Nigerian seafarers. So what have you agreements, or what are you working on with ITF to ensure that these challenges of seafarers have been addressed? A myriad of challenges, and one of them was also sea time training. We don't have a national fleet. Is there anything that you're working around this?
I think it's part of what we have rolled out before the new DG of Nneoma, because we're facing a lot of challenges where the seafarer will go to Ghana to go and renew their certificate, where our own certificate here is not being recognized by some indigenous ship owners. Those are the challenges that I think ITF is trying to say, okay, fine, we're going to give you support when train the trainers. What is the Horon doing? We have seafarers institution in Horon, and if the certificate in Horon cannot be recognized, then our seafarer will not leave Nigeria to Ghana to renew their certificate. I think it's an eyesore, and I think ITF, when they came in, they said yes, there's need for our government to look inward and make sure that whatever that is going to make the two center, that is ITF, the Nneoma, to sit down and work hand in hand to elevate the sovereignty of the Nigerian seafarers. I think they are ready for that. So it is an opportunity for us to align with what the idea they are bringing before us here in Nigeria and that of the other counterparts in over the world. So when you talk about training, train to trainers is always the key word. An institution that is making hell of money and you are not training your people, how do you expect them to perform? They are not going to perform. So I think ITF have a lot of projects for us in terms of training, and that is why we have what we call mass projects for seafarers here. All these mining agents that are not ready to unionize, remember they don't allow maritime workers of Nigeria to unionize the seafarers in their respective place. But with this new trend of things, by bringing in mass project to Nigeria, I think we have a lot of gain from the mass project, and it's helping the seafarers this time around.
Okay, Mawum is growing, is doing great under your leadership. And so how do you feel about the unionization of the CRFF workers, which happened recently?
Yeah, I think the CFRS, as you mentioned, they are product of circumstances. They'll be having a lot of challenges where they were before, and they believe where they are coming to join, they are going to have a very good leadership qualities, and that's why we welcome them. And where they are coming from might be different from where they are expecting, because it's like somebody coming to new place, they will be expecting so much. Okay. But we said, yes, we're going to learn from them. This will learn from us, because our own style of leadership is different from where they're coming from. So it's a new dawn in Maritime Workers of Nigeria for opening our door for any athletes who believe there's need for them to partner with us to align with our progress.
It's about leadership quality. It's about service you render to people, the way you intimate with the people, the way you move with the people, the way the workers see what you are doing. I think that's what gives us this opportunity of having them with us. And we're not going to disappoint them.
We are due for a break. When we return, we'll be looking at collective bargaining agreement for dock workers, but that will be after this short break. Please stay with us.
Africa needs its own storytellers, people who understand the continent because they're from it. People who know that news is more than just a conversation starter, it's our stories. Because these stories run deeper than headlines and segments. It's about digging deeper to get the facts and telling the human side of every single story, not just the echoes from foreign headlines and perspectives. It's time to take back our narratives and share them in our voices. The birth of Africa's New Age reporting, and this is where it begins, right here at News Central TV, with stories that put Africa first.
If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radio, and I still have with me Adeyanju. He is the President, Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, and Deputy President, NLC. He's also wearing new hats, ITF Chairman and Vice President, ITF Global. Because we wanted that break, I want you to talk to us, because the last time I was here, you mentioned the improvement you've had in terms of collective bargaining agreement with dock workers. Can you bring us up to speed what you have done and been able to achieve forward with that?
I think what we are about doing this time around is what we call career progressions in dockers, where a particular worker will remain or stagnated in one particular place as a labor. So we are trying to introduce what we call career progressions in dock industry. Okay. You can be promoted as a tally clerk, you can be promoted as a risk stacker, RTG, crane operators, or whatever. Equally a foreman, give a permanent employment. So the collective bargaining agreement between us and the terminal operators, midwife by Nneoma, is on course. And that's big thing that the workers too are equally expecting. If a worker is not well trained, how do you become a manager or whatever? Because somebody like us, we started from the grass to where we are today, and it's about the training that made us to be whatever we are today. So we see that there's need for us to have career progression for dockers. Before, dock workers don't have conditional service. There's nothing like pension, there's not like gratuity, there's not like a terminal benefit. But under our watch, under our command, we were able to achieve that any dock workers retiring today, living today, is not living with an empty hand. It's going home with retirement benefit, pensions, and equally gratuity. So those are the things we have we've achieved so far that make the port to be relatively peaceful this time around.
So another conversation I want us to build upon that we had last time is also the port and harbour bill. So what's the update on that?
Well, we are waiting. We are watching them. Our position is very clear, because the sponsor of the bill up to now has not invited the stakeholders before he introduce any bill that involve the life of the workers or the life of the port operators. At least all the stakeholders must be carried along. There's what we call a town hall meeting, stakeholders meeting, where I'll be able to tell the whole world advantage and disadvantage of this bill. And even the sponsor of the bill must tell us why this bill this time around. Because we have already killed it, and we believe that bill will not surface any longer. But somebody somewhere else is okay, let me introduce it again. Okay, fine, you want to introduce it. There are areas that's very key that the union will never fold its arm and allow you to get weight out of it. That is condition of service for the workers in NPA and in all relevant information within the port. So their welfare package, their salary, the retirement benefits, and the security of the port is very, very important as well. Where we have private terminals, who is managing it, who is controlling it. So those are the areas we are looking at and see how we can be on the same page, whoever that is sponsoring the bid. But when you are sponsoring it, carry all the stakeholders along, so they'll be able to tell you, no, this area is no go area, this area you can improve on it.
I particularly want to see what is being seen in other climes being replicated in Nigeria. So I was glad with this, you becoming a major player in ITF. So what is being done? What is the roadmap to ensure that maritime workers enjoy global standards? What is seen in global standards in terms of welfare, in terms of remuneration, training, and other? I know we've mentioned some of them, but now exactly with what you can see at par, someone who is working in Nigeria and someone who works maybe in Sweden, maybe in Switzerland, in the same kind of, so what are we doing to be at par with global standards? Because especially when it comes to seafarers, you find out that they do the same job. That maybe sometimes Nigerians are even better in that same job. But when you look at the wages, the disparity is just too huge and not encouraging.
Yeah, that is what we are equally trying to let the whole world know, that this global content or global content they are talking about, salary disparity between the foreigner and local workers, is nothing to write home about. Some of our boys, some of our members are the one training these expatriates. The moment they are being trained, they rated them above them. They promote them above them. So we are seeing how we can have what we call single CBA for the workers in some terminal operations, where whatever that is evolved in other African countries or in the other country is the same of that of Nigeria here, because there's no how you go to pay an expatriate in dollars, then you are paying our own members in naira. So we keep on telling the whole world that there's need for us to be on the same par with each other. So it has to do with proper remunerations, proper training, and I think ITF is on top of it, where they are going to have a global standard that's going to involve the seafarers, the dock workers, and other relevant port operators. So I think we are working towards that. And I think Maritime Workers of Nigeria, we've already key to that, where we should have what we call single CBA globally.
Okay, let us look at the shipping arm of the maritime workers. What conversations have you had with Shippers Council, or how has Shippers Council fared in ensuring their welfare?
Well, I want to thank you for this beautiful question, and I equally want to thank all the key players in shipping industry that for the past 3, 4, 5 years now, we're clamoring for review of minimum standard in shipping. And I want to tell you now that we are about signing the agreement where we have a standard in shipping this time around. The remunerations, their take home, their minimum entry coming in as a worker in shipping. All the stakeholders were about to sign the agreement. So that one have come to stay. And under my watch, I think we've achieved a lot in shipping this time around. And I'm sure the new executive secretaries of Shippers Council will call all the stakeholders so that we can sign the agreement. So we're happy to have announced to the whole world that yes, we have gotten minimum standard in shipping.
I'm glad to hear this. This gladdens me, this report. Then before I let you go, what do you think about the shipping industry? Because in the real terms of it, Nigeria is an import-dependent nation, but we are not practically involved in shipping because foreigners have taken over. So how has that, indigenous people not playing, we not having indigenous players in the shipping industry in Nigeria, how does that have impacted maritime workers? And what are your expectations? What do you want to see? Now we have a dedicated ministry. What are the things that you expect to see from the ministry, from these agencies that are heading to ensure that indigenous shippers are practitioner, real terms of it, are part of our huge shipping industry?
Well, I think over the years, since my inception in the port, what we normally have is this foreign people managing the shipping industry, where the indigenous ship owners are not being encouraged by our government. We are not being assisted, they are not being encouraged, they are not being empowered. The manpower is not there for them. And I think with this new blue economy that the government have introduced, it's going to be better for the minister and the other stakeholders to encourage indigenous ship owners so that they can be on the par with their foreign counterparts. Do they have money to float on, to float the shipping? Do they have money to do all those things? I think governments should equally encourage their own. Like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was making a statement about supporting the indigenous terminal operators that have contributed to the success and the growth of economy of this great country. But if you look around now, those foreign operators, they are making hell of money in this country, and they are using the money to develop their country.
And leave us.
And leave us here, and we still remain where we are, where they are expanding their scope to even have some terminal all over Africa countries, terminal all over the world. They are making the money from here. Why don't we encourage the terminal operators? Why don't we encourage the indigenous ship owners so that they can be at the par? And there should be an incentive coming from the government to encourage them as well. Because because the government is making money through the tax, is it through whatever they are making hell of money out of the business, but the people should be encouraged. Nigeria should be encouraged, both locally and globally, because they are not taking our heritage away from here. Our heritage remains here. But part of our heritage is what we have given out to some people to manage on our behalf. Is it because we are not efficient enough to manage it? No, that's not the question. But encouragement should come from the government to encourage our local base.
Thank you very much. I must thank you for your time and thoughts always on the show. And I appreciate all you are doing with your association. And we know that in the remaining part of 2024, we want to see more things being rolled out. It's been the President, Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria. He is also the Deputy President, NLC, Adeyanju. Thank you most kindly for
Thank
your
you
time
for
and your
having me.
thoughts. And well done in all you are doing.
Thank you.
And that's our show this week. Join us every week on Maritime Radio as we explore potentials that will ensure the development of the maritime sector in Africa. You can also expect the latest in global and local maritime news, plus industry insights right here. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. Many thanks for your time, and see you again next week.